Hello, dear artist friends, and today I am working on a piece that will be another dancer in another culture. And first I started it and I made a typical mistake that beginning artists make. I did not fill up the page. I was working tiny and thinking in terms of details instead of shapes. And as soon as I realized that, I went ahead and kept on working on the piece for a little bit because I kind of liked the feel that it had, but it wasn't matching my vision. So I put it aside. I'm going to work on it later and try to get a different vision for it. But this one is hopefully going to more closely match my vision for this ethnic dancer. So I've already started my underpainting and I've used these Inktense pigment blocks. They're like the shape of a Taylor block. They have a kind of a waxy feel. In fact, if you hold them for very long and your hands are kind of damp, they will get the ink on your hands. So, and when they are wetted, they will turn into ink, so they're permanent. You can't change it after it dries. So you want to be careful using it, but I really enjoy them. It's kind of a wet medium. You can draw with it. As you can see that I've done that with them. That's what's on here is the Inktense, and as I wet it, you'll see it activate that ink. I hope you enjoy watching the beginning of this ethnic dancer painting. I don't have a title for it. Be sure and start suggesting titles.
Okay, as you can see, I have some water here and I have two brushes. I thought I was going to start with the bigger one, and then I realized I needed to do the lighter inks first and then do the darker inks, and that required the use of the smaller brush. So I'm beginning the process of activating all that beautiful ink in the drawing on the page. The water, you can use alcohol too. I have used alcohol in the past. It dries much faster, but it doesn't activate the ink as quickly and easily. So I'm using water today, and all of a sudden it's dripping. So I'm grabbing a paper towel to dab my brush on and keep it from dripping. I do enjoy drips at times whenever I am painting and using this type of underpainting. But in this case, I'm wanting to be a little bit more precise. A lot of times people ask, what is the purpose of an underpainting? And I can tell you I had the exact same question as at an earlier time whenever I was more of a beginner. Part of the reason that I will do an underpainting is that it will eliminate having any of the cream color of that UART paper show through. Sometimes I like that effect, and sometimes it annoys me, and I feel like I have to go through and cover each one up. So to avoid that, I am doing an underpainting. Another really great reason for doing an underpainting is to give yourself a map of the values, mostly what's dark, what's light, and where those values fall. And then another reason I like to do an underpainting is just because it's fun. I really enjoy using a brush. I am a pastelist, so and I'm in love with the medium of pastel. But to swish and swash a brush around on the paper really just brings me a lot of joy. So it's like playing like kindergartner for me. So I'm giving myself a map. I'm enjoying the process. I'm bringing joy into my process. And I am covering up the white spots on the paper. So those are all reasons that I might do an underpainting. You can consider doing an underpainting in many different ways. So if you want to know some of those ways, you can look in some of my past videos, but you can also just Google underpainting. And if specifically for whatever medium you're wanting to understand it for, if it's pastels, Google underpaintings for pastels. You'll get a bazillion returns, and some of them will even be videos, and you can watch those. So another thing that I'm doing with the brushes, even though it won't matter very much in the end, it will impact my brain and the way I'm thinking about what's going on here. I am using my brush in the direction of the fall of the folds of the fabric, of the way the skin of the arm, the direction the arms are going. I'm using my brush in that order. All right, so I did pick up the bigger brush and realized that my paper towel was getting soaked, so I got a new one so I can dab it. And I'm starting, notice that I'm starting at the lighter part of the paper, because I don't want to get my brush all contaminated with the darker colors that are there at the bottom and then drag that up to the top. I would much rather drag the light colors down into the bottom. Left-hand side of this painting will be darker. I have the concept in my head is the light is coming from the right and hitting the dancer and the floor on the right. So shadows will be behind her. So that's darker back there. And again, I'm pulling those lighter colors down into the darker colors. I have already created some of the shadows that will be there. I used the Inktense blocks to do that, and you'll see them show up as I activate the ink. Any of this can be changed once I start applying pastel. So if there are mistakes like that drip that comes down or whatever, I'm not worried about that. This is for me. Very few people are going to notice or understand about this underpainting once it's done. So this is for me. As you can see, it's getting darker right under there where the shadows are. The light is striking her leg and throwing a shadow on the floor. She's moving really fast, so the shadow's pretty indistinct. And everything on the left-hand side is going to be darker as well, because of the direction of the light. I have some really interesting concepts for this. I am excited to see if I can accomplish, again, what I said at the beginning, the vision in my head. So there are no mistakes. There are just things that don't match your vision. And we just start over and enjoy the process. Her hair wasn't quite as dark as I wanted it, so I'm adding a little bit more of the Inktense, and I will activate that as well, just again to give me a bit of a map, and pull that down in front of her ear as well.
Okay, that was really fun, and really this is much more like my vision. One of the reasons I really love using these Inktense Taylor chalk shaped blocks is because they give you such a loose feel. And yeah, they drip. You saw that happening. I didn't want a whole lot of drips, but sometimes, depending on the subject matter, I let those drips go. So I'm really liking how this goes. I'm thinking this is a much better start, feeling much better about that. So part 2 coming up soon.
When I began my art journey 5 years ago, I had no idea all the joy that I would find. If I had known, I wouldn't have waited so long. Over those years, I have talked to many people who want to begin some kind of artistic pursuit, but they're blocked. They don't know how, they don't think it's too expensive, or they've been told they don't have any talent. I wish I could share with everyone that there are solutions and help for all of those issues. I've created a quiz to help you determine what is blocking you from the joy of art. It will pinpoint the area of your greatest block and give you solutions that will work. I know they will because I've tried them myself. All you have to do to access the quiz and get your results is to sign up for my email newsletter. The link is below in the comments. You'll get your results immediately so you can get started enjoying your art journey.